Where to start? I want to first say that it's so good to be here. And I love you, Phil, and I love you, Marcia, and you're my literary family, and just like Sandra and so many of you. And yeah, it's been about 20 years, I think, maybe more. um, I'm so grateful that our friendship entered my life, and it's given, now that I'm a teacher and students talk to me about publishing, one of the things that I tell them, and Sandra and I talked about this, is just how important those friendships are, those, artistic friendships and the communities that we build. And I'm just incredibly grateful for you both. Thank you for having me to your wonderful reading, which is always this space where all these incredible people show up and everyone belongs and is valued. And you've taught me that. I'm going to read from Tigers. And I just, to say as sort of context, Night Radio was a book that was focused on the kidnapping and rape of my sister, and my dad being an LA cop and growing up in Los Angeles. And it's very much a book about being rooted in Southern California, and sort of an excavation of that trauma, but also kind of about trying to find meaning, when faced with such violence. And this book I started the first poems in this book when my firstborn was an infant, nursing on a nursing pillow. And that, changed the center of my life and all the questions that I was asking, especially in relation to this kind of formative history of mine. So this book is very much, it's dedicated to my daughter. I like to think of it as a book of shadows for my daughter, a map of how to navigate power, danger, and that part of us that the world wants us to ignore, right? The wild part. I'm going to read a selection of poems, and this first poem is from it's from a series of poems called The Mother Ghosts. And this first one is called Mother Ghosts, the Ancestors. You must travel like a peasant. Here are grandma's thick ankles. Here's how to suck marrow from a chicken bone. Your matriline haunts the castles of Estonia, of Hungary, of Ireland, supernatural, numinous, never ending. Here are the ghosts, here are the mustard fields overgrown, the vines, the sky, a white apparition, a legend your mothers know. They strip you of your beauty. You must board the ship. Comb lice from your hair. When you were a baby, I carried you everywhere. I thought the ghosts. I thought perfection. The mothers, not bird-like, but terry cloth shorts, flabby thighs, the breasts loose. You can smell bath salts, breath, like yogurt cups. You will come to your new life, carrying your father's debts, my simple dresses. After the storm, even the solid earth gives way. It will block the trail. You will have to climb on all fours. Mothers grow a kind of offspring. Coyote, black bear, possum. Your grandmother's grandmother birthed a child who chased her 6 children with a kitchen broom. The skinniest girl became my mother. What does devastated mean, you ask me? Here are entire bodies, veins and tendon cords, mothers meddling, mothers moving forward, supernatural, never ending. Here is the letter, a black outline around the perimeter, the news, it's coming, the mothers, the ghosts, waiting, wailing. Here's how you know before the haunting, how you tear it wide open. Thanks, guys. Oh, Sophia, nice to see you. This one's called Birth. I go into the woods. The doctor's apparatus cold and bright, like a vice grip that functions as a fierce god, a punishing god who can smell fear, a king who can open up an entire vagina, ancient and temporary, trunk, corpse, mass. The cells reproduce and then decay. It's the fabric. I pull the squirming purple baby onto my chest. Even after the downfall of the king, I stalk the perimeter with golden eyes, with a boy's big teeth. I'm not ready to die. I stay sharp, pointed. I won't resemble prey. This is mine. So this poem is called The Felons. I was thinking about this poem because sometimes I think that I'm interested in feminine or female experience, but I'm very much also interested in masculinity. But this is an interesting, for me, it was an interesting way that I was exploring masculinity, because in some ways it's well, I won't say it now. I don't want to interpret the poem and ruin it, but maybe we'll talk after. It's called The Felons. I guess it's what I want to say is that it sort of makes sense. Like if you're interested in exploring female experience, it's also, I don't know, for me, it means I'm going to look at the other experience as well. The Felons. The felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings teach us to shove an arm into the mouths of a Rottweiler if attacked from the side. They teach us that if you've killed a man, you make amends by raising your grandchildren, that the kids will play in a small fenced yard, that you button the thin child's shirt until he can do it for himself. The felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings teach us not to reach over a man's plate for a salt shaker. We call the one with new white teeth Beaver. We call the felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings names like Peg-Leg Steve and Bloodbath Bob. We are 20-year-old girls sitting in a line on metal chairs. We are always lighting cigarettes. We are girls who have spent the summer pulling cold trays of French fry from the trash to eat, girls who travel by Greyhound. We steal hair dye. You wouldn't believe what has happened to us. At the 12-step meetings, the felons teach us to aim like we're hunting wild javelina. They teach us how to instantly pull arrows from our quiver, that recovery is muscle memory, that relapse is a hoofed mammal chittering in the shadows. The felons say, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. The felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings feast on salmon roe, octopus, daikon radish, kimchi, fennel spare ribs, beef bourguignon, tabbouleh, crab cakes, and chicken satay. They hammer together coops for rabbits and tortoises before their bodies begin to grow quiet. As the years pass, the felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings learn to hold our new babies lightly. They teach us that even violent men eventually grow small in hospital beds. They ask for honey ice cream to be spooned onto their dry tongues. When we throw open their curtains and our thick heels click across the room, they ask us to slow down a little bit, will ya? The felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings teach us that the urges may never go away and that there is no love without acceptance. Eventually, they lose hair, then they lose children, they lose toolboxes and tax statements, 401ks and regular erections. The felons who speak at 12-step meetings teach us that a man's strength must move inward, that he will look off into the corner of the room, that he will surrender even his body. The felons who speak regularly at 12-step meetings die quietly while Foxes flickers on the TV. They teach us how the morphine dream pulls you by an umbilical cord through deep space. They speak their mother's names, the felons do. A young Jodie Foster chases her life while the felons unzip themselves from this great longing. It's so funny to see the waving hands. I love you guys. So what I was going to say, and I won't talk too long, I'll just read another poem, but just, I think that, yeah, there was an interest in our inherent powerlessness, right? And tenderness. And, okay, I have two more I want to read. This next one, I've only started reading recently. It's called The Sleepover. Here it goes. Into the late night, fingers still sticky, the secrets coming out. A trundle bed, a girl's face turning red, her braces and rubber bands covered in spit, first in the metal trash can, then all of us in the carpeted Jack and Jill bathroom. She's throwing up and the secret is coming out. It kept coming. We held her hair. It was so late. We wanted to know under the covers, after the lights, pulled the strands from her mouth, the denim jacket, a neon pink wig, the mother's pulling up the next morning. We carried it away in four-door sedans, bent over desks into middle school, little girls, chewing our own hair. I imagined her father. I didn't belong there. She was in my homeroom. I imagined her father, a German shepherd locked in a house, not incest. He touched his daughter's best friend. It made her throw up in a trash can. The red vines and diet soda cans, all of us held it until the next time. Raped after the movies or behind the garbage can, each of us have been given this story. I'll tell you about it. It was a sleepover. No one can walk away. I'll tell you a story, not a warning, a training. Each of us carrying it away. It's too late to feel this sad. I wanted her dad to be a monster. Instead, I learned. This last poem is the title poem of the book, and it's called Tiger. And this is for my daughter. When the tigers come, you might drive and drive, inhaling hits of smoke from the mouths of shoeless men, pulling long moo-moos from garbage cans, rolling your own cigarettes from tobacco tins. When the tigers come, you might crush all your Simon and Garfunkel albums and stop taking showers. You might throw away your fun girl who used to sing at dinner. When the tigers come, you might run naked, believing that if you've rid yourself of every last remnant, they'll have nothing to take from you. Once the tigers have come, everything will begin to look like Tiger. The classroom, your dope, the small way you believe you can go to Reed College, your love of whales, the total. I want to tell you that when the tigers come, meet Tiger with Tiger. I want you to learn the tiger growl, the tiger smell. I want to teach you to stalk like a tiger. I want to make a tiger mask for the back of your head so the tigers won't attack from behind. I want to tell you that the tigers will become gentle, but the tigers aren't gentle. You can only open your tiny broken life. You can crack open the back door when the rain starts. You can come down into the wild fennel, into this long stretch of time, these days like little pieces, the smell of sage, the way the wind moves through anyone's hair. When the tigers come, you can only meet them as you meet every single morning. You start so early. You look like Tiger looks, eyes fixed on each moment, and you've always called me back here to the sound of your own singing. your hand pulling me into the yard, back from all the ways I teach you to run from Tiger. But Tiger is right here, all along, with tiger breath, tiger whiskers, and up close, the sound is not a growl. The sound is animal, and Tiger can sense us, and you're ready. I can see that now. You always have been. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.